This is the final day of this 7-part series, so I'll give a review of what we've covered so far, just briefly. On the first day, I explained that there are only 3 things we need to know. And those 3 things are, to whom are we related? Sambandh. Once we know to whom we're related, how do we meet him? Abhidheya. What is the path? And having met him, what is our goal? Why do we want to meet him? What do we want from him, having met him? Prayojan. So the answer to these 3 questions are Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, and Prem. We are related only to Shri Krishna. The path to reach him is Bhakti. And once we reach him, we're going to ask him for his Prem, his divine love. So we focused on, first of all, I then shared with you 6 unique features or virtues of Bhakti. Kleshagni, that Bhakti eliminates all forms of suffering. Shubhada, Bhakti gives all the auspicious things, like developing good qualities in the heart, pleasing all the celestial beings of this earth planet, other forms of God, just by worshipping Radha and Krishna. Moksha laghutakrit. Even in the devotional stage, a devotee is not interested in moksha, liberation. So great is his experience of bhakti, even as a devotee on the path. Sudurlabha. It is extremely rare for someone to attain divine love, which doesn't mean that it's difficult to attain. It's just very rare for someone to know that's the best thing to ask for. Sandrananda Visheshatma. The bliss that a jnani experiences in his state of liberation, even if multiplied by trillions of times, would be nothing in front of a tiny speck of the ocean of divine love. So great is that power, Shri Krishna Prem. And Shri Krishna Karshini. That divine love is so great that it even attracts the heart of Shri Krishna, which means that whomever he grants that power to, or whoever has the wisdom, having met Shri Krishna, to ask for his divine love power, once they receive that, Krishna becomes however they want. However they love him, he becomes like that. He no longer behaves as God in front of that God-realized devotee. So even Krishna is under divine love, Prem. So the next day, day 3, we started to focus on the bhakti that we have to do. So I explained to you that bhakti is divided into 3 stages: sadhana bhakti, bhao bhakti, and prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is the path we have to follow. Attaching our mind to God is sadhana bhakti. Bhao bhakti is the next stage, which comes when you start practicing sadhana. And prema bhakti is the divine love power which we're granted upon complete heart purification. So we started with stage 1. What is sadhana bhakti? How do we do sadhana bhakti? And I explained that there could be uncountable ways of doing sadhana bhakti, but the saints have given most importance to 9 kinds, Navadha bhakti. And out of those 9, 3 are main. Shravan, meaning listening. Kirtan, singing God's name and virtues and leelas. And Smaran, meditating on God. So even out of these 3, Smaran is the most important and is the only one which must be there in all circumstances. No matter what other type of bhakti you're doing, you must do Smaran. So I explained that Smaran is done simply by visualizing the form of Radha and Krishna. This is Roop Dhyan. And there are no rules about anything in Roop Dhyan except that your feelings should be there, that this is real Radha and Krishna in front of me. You can imagine them in any age, any dress, any decorations, and you can keep changing their decorations, you can serve them, you can take part in their leelas, all in your imagination. This is Roop Dhyan. This is the integral form of devotion. This is how you do smaran. So if someone does this smaran along with kirtan and shravan as supporting types of bhakti, meaning those are the outward form of the bhakti and smaran is the inward form of bhakti, then they have the correct understanding of how to do sadhana. On day 5, I explained to you that sadhana can be practiced in one of two ways, either as Vaidhi Bhakti or Raganuga Bhakti. And simply put, Vaidhi Bhakti means attaching your mind to God, but while you're worshipping God, you're observing all the do's and don'ts of the Vedas, of Karmakand of the Vedas. So you're observing a lot of formalities. And in Raganuga Bhakti, all the formality is finished, and the only rule you have to follow is always remember Radha and Krishna. I explained that it's not that a devotee of Raganuga Bhakti doesn't have to have discipline in his life, but in terms of the form of devotion he practices, there are no do's and don'ts, there are no rights and wrongs. The only right is, are you remembering Radha and Krishna? And the only wrong would be, have you forgotten them? This is Raganuga Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti has a fear behind it, that if I don't worship properly, I'll be punished. I broke some rule. I transgressed. Raganuga Bhakti is simply motivated out of love. To lovingly remember Radha and Krishna makes us happy, so we do it. We don't do it out of fear. On day 6, yesterday, I explained that if someone practices Raganuga Bhakti in this way, observing the 3 conditions of Raganuga Bhakti, which are that we can only have one desire, the desire to be happy in Krishna's happiness. Number 2, that there should be no affiliation of karma, jnana, yoga, or any other practice. And number 3, we adopt one of the 4 bhao, dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, madhurya. So worshipping Radha and Krishna in this way, if someone practices sadhana bhakti in the Raganuga tradition, eventually their heart will start to purify. And as a result of this, they will start to experience signs or symptoms of the next stage of bhakti, which is bhao bhakti. This is where it starts to feel more natural. In sadhana bhakti, the mind, in that beginner stage, the mind keeps going back to the world and it's difficult to attach it to God. But through determined practice, the devotee gets to the point where it just becomes natural for his mind to lovingly remember Radha and Krishna. So his mind has become somewhat attached to Radha and Krishna in this stage of bhao bhakti. So I explained 9 signs of bhao bhakti which someone can experience for themselves. That I explained to you yesterday. Today, in this final segment of this series, I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail these stages of bhakti. So far we only talked of 3 stages, sadhana bhakti, bhao bhakti, and then prema bhakti, that's the divine goal. So sadhana bhakti actually has 3 phases to it. Then bhao bhakti has several more phases, 5 more phases. Then prema bhakti itself has 8 different levels. So I'll just briefly explain these to you tonight to just sum up the whole series. So again, turning to Roop Goswami's writing, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, we'll see what these 9 stages are. Adau Shraddha Tatah Sadhu Sangotha Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartha Nivritti Syat Tato Nishtharuchis Tatah atha saktistato bhavastata prema bhyudanchati. 9 different stages on the path of bhakti. So the first one, Adav, first of all, Shraddha. Shraddha means a desire for God. Some amount of faith in God, enough faith to want to meet Him. Shraddha, although we don't usually think of it in this way, it means bhuk, pyas, a hunger, a thirst for God. And if a hunger for God is there, then alongside with that, a renunciation from the world is also there. So Shraddha also means some amount of renunciation from the world. If we didn't have some amount of renunciation from the world, we wouldn't have hunger to find God. The two go hand in hand. So God's power, Maya, even if we haven't met a true saint in this life, our first guru is Maya. Although we like to complain about Maya, that Maya gives us lots of suffering, and oh Krishna, how can you let your own servant Maya beat up on your son, me? No worldly mother or father would allow that. Why is my divine mother or father allowing their servant Maya to beat up on their son? So we sweetly complain to Krishna in this way, but actually Maya is helping us. Why? Because if no one got any disappointments from this world, no one would ever think to desire for God. It's only because we've experienced the true nature of this world. We've experienced the disappointments, the dissatisfaction, the discontent of even the happiness of this world, let alone the suffering. So because of that, we all have some amount of renunciation from the world, and in equal parts, we desire God. However much renunciation from the world someone has, they have an equal amount of desire for God. So that comes first. That's Shraddha. The next one is Sadhu Sangha. You meet a saint. You get the association of a saint. So why does Shraddha come first? Because you have to be ready to meet a saint. The saint is going to put the food before you so you can eat. So first you should be hungry. Meaning the saint is going to show you the path to God. So if someone puts food in front of you, you have to at least have enough desire to eat so that you'll pick the food up and make the effort of putting it in your mouth and chewing and swallowing. If you're not hungry, they could put the most beautiful home-cooked meal in front of you and you may acknowledge that it looks nice, but you won't make the effort to eat. So in the same way, if someone doesn't have enough desire for God, then it doesn't matter how great a saint is, how much they explain to us, how much sense it makes to us. If our desire for God is not there, then we won't take advantage of what the saint is giving us. So Shraddha comes first. Then Krishna arranges for us to meet a saint. We can't find a saint on our own. If we have a desire for God, we should pray directly to Krishna, please help me find a saint. I want to reach you in this lifetime, but I can't do it alone. So we have to develop that desire for Him by praying to Him all the time until He brings a saint into our life. So now we meet a saint, sadhu. So sadhu sang. Meeting is the first part. Then comes our part, the next part we have to do, sang. Sang means to associate with, or literally, it means to touch. So what has to touch? Your forehead to the saint's feet? No. Your mind to the saint's mind. Your heart to the saint's heart. That's sang. So sadhu sang allows us to go to the next stage, bhajana kriya. Now sadhana bhajan starts, sadhana bhakti starts. See, it doesn't start until we develop a desire for God, we meet a saint, we surrender to the saint, then true sadhana bhakti starts. So there are a few steps before we even begin. Surrender to the saint has to come before we start sadhana for a few reasons. First of all, how will we know how to do sadhana? The saint has to explain it to us, and not only explain it to us, we have to have faith in what he's saying. That's what surrender means. If a doctor prescribes a medicine to you, if you have no faith in the doctor and you go home thinking, I don't know, he might have misdiagnosed me, will you take the medicine? If you apply your own intellect saying, oh, he probably diagnosed me okay, but he only told me to take 1 drop of medicine every day, why don't I just drink the whole vial? You might end up killing yourself doing that. So we become surrendered to the doctor. We surrender our intellect to the doctor. We say, whatever you say, I'm going to do it, and then I'll get better. So sadhana bhakti is our medicine, but it has to be taken in the right way. That's what's going to purify our heart, but only if practiced according to the saint's instructions. So those instructions are the prescription. The diagnosis is the same for everybody. Bhavarog, maya lagi hui hai, vimukta bhagwan se. All souls are eternally turned away from God, so Maya has control over them. That's the same diagnosis for every soul. And the prescription is the same. Do sadhana. But exactly how to do sadhana bhakti, you have to learn from a saint. So we have to surrender our intellect to the saint. And our heart. In Gita, Krishna says, Mayyarpita mano buddhi Mayyeva mana adhatsa dhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya. 2 different shlokas where Krishna is telling Arjun, surrender your man and your buddhi. Man means your heart, what you love with, and your buddhi, what you think with, what you analyze with. So what if someone has surrendered their man to a saint? It means they love the saint, but they haven't surrendered their buddhi. See, we do this to our parents, right? We love our parents, but we still choose not to follow their instructions. So if we do that to a saint, we won't be successful. In our heart, we love the saint. We have feelings for the saint. But our intellect says, oh, he gave me these instructions, but I'll choose to follow this one, but not that one, or I'll follow it in this way, in my own way. So we can't be successful at sadhana bhakti in that way. Not only should we love the saint, we must surrender our intellect as well. Shvetashvatra says, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashyante mahatmanah. If you want to be successful in sadhana bhakti and you want to become God realized, you want to become a Mahapurush in this life, then the exact same bhakti that you have for Bhagwan, you should have the same bhakti, no more, no less, exactly equal for your Guru. So we surrender our heart and we surrender our intellect. Now we're ready to start sadhana. So that's sadhu sang. We joined our heart and we joined our intellect with the saint, a true saint. Now we're ready to start bhakti. Another reason that we need the help of a saint is that, let's say, someone has the instructions from a saint, but they haven't surrendered their heart. They haven't really made a connection in their heart with that saint. But they're trying to follow the instructions for bhakti. What are they going to miss? The grace of the saint. That grace is also important. So in this way, it's more than a doctor does for us. The doctor doesn't give us anything intangible inside. He just writes the prescription, diagnoses you, gives you the prescription, you follow it. So it's an intellectual connection with the doctor. But the saint graces you internally, which is also required to move forward in sadhana bhakti and reach the stage of bhao bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji explains why. Nam namakari bahudha nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamitaha smaranena kalaha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivami drishamiha janinanuraga. O Krishna, you are so gracious that you have imbued all of your power in your name. Yet, when I do kirtan, when I call your name, I don't feel anything inside. My heart is like a stone. I'm saying your name from my mouth, but I feel no anurag from inside. Why not? It's my durdaiva. Roop Goswami explained what this word durdaiva means. He said it's because of our past spiritual transgressions, our past namaparad, which create a blockage in our heart. They've polluted our heart. They don't allow us to experience the bliss in the name. They don't allow us to experience the bliss of bhakti. So we can never enter the stage of bhao bhakti where we're actually feeling that deep connection with Radha and Krishna. We keep practicing according to the instructions of how to do sadhana bhakti, but we never get to the next stage because there's a blockage inside. And we created that blockage. Anytime someone has a negative thought about God, His name, His virtues, His form, His leelas, His abodes, or His saints. Not only an overtly negative thought, but even just not giving proper regard, disregarding. Not necessarily openly disrespecting, of course that's even worse. Even disregarding is a form of transgression. So how many transgressions have we done in uncountable past lifetimes? It's uncountable. So all of that is stored up in here, and that's a big blockage. Is there any prayashchit to remove that blockage? In our scriptures, no matter what kind of a sin someone does, the way to remove the effect of that sin is described in the scriptures. It's called prayashchit karma. You do this certain karma, and it cancels the effect of that sin. Is there any such prayashchit karma which could cancel the effect of a namaparad? Nothing. There's no way on our own to delete the effect of those past spiritual transgressions. There's nothing described in the scriptures that could help us. There's only one way, the grace of a living saint. If we join our mind, our man and buddhi with that saint graces us internally. It establishes allows the current to flow like an electrical connection. So we make the connection and the saint's grace flows. And that grace starts cleaning and removing the effect of that pollution from those past spiritual transgressions that we had done. So it's only with the grace of the saint that we are able to actually start to feel something on the path of bhakti. So for all of these reasons, we have to do sadhu sang. Then we start practicing sadhana bhakti, bhajana kriya, and with the help of that saint, we practice it correctly, and with the saint's grace, we progress to the next stage, which is the first stage of bhao bhakti, which is called anartha nivritti. Anarth means that which takes you away from God. Arth is God, divine happiness. And that which takes you away from God is anarth. So anartha nivritti means a reduction in the faults of our mind. I'll just tell you briefly, this is also broken into 4 sections. 4 different types of anarth. Sukrita jat anarth, dushkrita jat anarth, aparadha jat anarth, bhakti jat anarth. So sukrita jat means arising out of good actions, but good actions done in the world with a worldly motivation, with attachment in the world. So that results in possibly going to Swarg or having more prosperity and enjoyments in future lifetimes, but it just increases our bondage. So it's taking us away from God. Dushkrita anarth, from wrong actions, developing the negativities of our mind, all the negative qualities, all the defilements of a Mayic mind, they start to be reduced. Anger, greed, hatred, jealousy, envy, dishonesty, all of these bad qualities of the mind start to be reduced. This is dushkrita anarth, nivritti. Nivritti means it's removed. You become free from it. Then aparadha janya anarth. That means the nam-aparadh. I already explained that. The effect of the previous spiritual transgressions are also reduced. And bhakti jat anarth. You wouldn't think that you would get anarth from doing bhakti, but Sri Maharaj explained that, let's say someone starts to get some tears when they're doing bhakti, and then immediately they think in their mind, oh, I have to show someone. Someone should see me that I'm crying. I'm on the same level with Dhruv and Prahlad. I'm such a great devotee. So Sri Maharaj says, if we have that kind of lok-ranjan motivation for doing bhakti, to show our greatness to others and get their praise, then we're developing more bad qualities of our mind. That also has to be reduced. There's a rule. Gopaniyam, gopaniyam, gopaniyam prayatnataha. The devotee is supposed to try with full effort to keep those feelings, that love for Radha Krishna, inside, not to let it show, not to let everybody else think his heart is like a stone. I never saw him cry a tear. I don't think he has any feelings for Radha Krishna. Good, let them think that. You keep that inside. Sri Maharaji says it's like a pressure cooker. You keep the steam in, it gets hot and cooks fast. So you want the heat of your bhakti to purify your heart, so don't let it out. Keep it in. If it even after all of your efforts, it shows, fine. But make full effort to hide it and never show it on purpose to try to impress someone. So this is bhakti jata anarth, nivritti. So in this stage, these faults of the human mind are reduced. And they're reduced in 5 stages. Desha, 5 stages meaning, like at first, just a little bit of reduction. Then more reduction, then quite a bit of reduction, then it seems like they're all gone and then finished from the root. Bahudesha vartini, prayika, purna, and atyantiki. These are the words. Deshavartini means just beginning, when you start to see those faults of the mind getting reduced. Bahudeshavartini, they're reduced to a much greater extent now. Prayiki, they're reduced to quite a great extent. Purna, it seems like basically they're gone completely, but there's still a little seed remaining. And then atyantiki means when you become God realized and your mind is divinized through the grace of Swarup Shakti, then even the root of those faults, Maya itself, is eliminated. So these are the 5 stages in reduction of the faults of the human mind. This is anartha nivritti. So this is the 4th stage. See, first Shraddha, then Sadhu Sang, then Bhajana Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti. The next stage is called Nishtha. Nishtha means your faith in God and Guru becomes firm. You don't waver at all. You have full confidence in meeting God in this lifetime, and you never doubt in your Guru's words. This is the 5th stage. The 6th stage is called Ruchi. Ruchi means now you just want to do bhakti all the time. You don't even feel like enjoying anything in the world. If you don't get a chance to do bhakti, you just feel restless. You want to spend all your time doing bhakti. Then comes asakti. That's number 7. Asakti is the next stage after ruchi. So in asakti, the love of Radha and Krishna themselves have entered so deeply into your heart that it's like if you melt a clear wax, you melt it fully so that it's liquid, and then you add some color in there, some colored powder. Now that powder has impregnated the wax to the point that the two can never be separated. So Radha and Krishna in this stage of asakti have entered into your heart completely. In the stage of ruchi, man and buddhi are both there. It means your intellect is still active. You're loving Radha and Krishna a lot, but your intellect is still active. You can still use it if you want to. But in the stage of asakti, the buddhi can no longer function. It's completely drowned in love of Radha and Krishna all the time. And the 8th stage is called bhao. In this stage, bhao means complete heart purification. The final stage of bhakti. No more work to do. So obviously that stage only lasts a fraction, not even a fraction of a second, because the moment you reach that stage, your Guru graces you with God realization. So up to that point, bhao, that's the 8th stage of bhakti. You were purifying your heart. Now there's 2 kinds of maya that have to be eliminated for someone to either get liberated or to get God realized. Those 2 types of maya are called avidya maya and vidya maya. So avidya maya, which means the ignorance of the mind, as well as all of our attachments and impurities from uncountable past lifetimes, that's all being cleaned out as we practice sadhana bhakti and progress through the stages of bhao bhakti. So when we reach that 8th stage called bhao, the heart has been completely purified, which means avidya maya is completely eliminated. But vidya maya still remains. That's the original veil of maya. That can't be eliminated through any amount of bhakti or any other spiritual practice. That is only eliminated through God's grace. So as soon as the avidya maya has been destroyed through the practice of bhakti, immediately, remember, I explained in one of the other days that Swarup Shakti is coming in your heart. When you first enter the beginning stages of bhao bhakti, it means God's personal power, Swarup Shakti, has started to enter. And I said the way Maharajji explained it is that Swarup Shakti doesn't do anything, just coming and having a look around. That, oh, this heart is getting nice and clean, so pretty soon I'm going to get to do my thing. So what is Swarup Shakti's thing, as soon as your heart is fully purified, Swarup Shakti divinizes your antahakaran, your senses, mind, intellect, heart, everything. So then Vidya Maya is eliminated, the veil of Maya is destroyed, and then your Guru gives you prema bhakti. That's the ninth thing, the ninth and final stage. And having received prema bhakti, then we get to enjoy that relationship with Krishna in his divine abode forever. We get to serve him for his happiness, which is the ultimate goal of every soul. Jivera swarupa hoy Krishnera nitya das. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji says, every soul is the eternal servant of Krishna, so it's your birthright to serve Krishna in the divine world. But to do that, you have to attain his divine love. Having attained that, you can serve him. So now we've reached that stage. The last thing I'm going to explain to you is that even this prema bhakti has 8 different levels. Prema bhakti, sneha bhakti, mana bhakti, pranaya bhakti, raga bhakti, anuraga bhakti, bhavavesh bhakti, and mahabhao bhakti. What's the difference between them? Well, remember I said there are 5 ways you can worship God. Shant bhao. These are the devotees of Almighty God. They think of God as God, like the king, and they're his subjects. There's dasya bhao, when you love Krishna as your loving master and you're his servant. Sakhya bhao, your best friends. Vatsalya bhao, he's your child, you're his mother or father. And madhurya bhao, you are divine beloveds. So the one who worships God with shant bhao, he goes up to the first level of divine love, prema bhakti, not beyond that. The one who worships God with dasya bhao, he goes beyond prema, sneha, man, pranay, to the beginning stage of raga bhakti, the 5th out of 8 levels. That's the one who worships with dasya bhao. Now the one who's worshipping Krishna with dasya bhao, he has certain restrictions. Like, let's say he's eating a fruit, and he takes a bite and he says, this is so sweet. Krishna would really like this. Oh, but I'm his servant. I can't feed him a fruit I've already eaten. So he has to hold that feeling inside. He can't act on it. But the one who worships him with sakhya bhao, he can. Oh, this is so sweet. Kanhaiya, come here, have this. No restriction for him. So the one who worships with sakhya bhao, he also reaches to raga bhakti, the 5th level, but a higher stage of raga bhakti than the dasya bhao devotee. What about vatsalya bhao? They go 1 level higher to anuraga bhakti. This is Mother Yashoda. And the gopis, those our topmost saints who worship Krishna with madhurya bhao, they go beyond that 6th level, anurag bhakti, to bhavavesh bhakti, and even beyond that, to mahabhao bhakti. Mahabhao bhakti also has many divisions within it. So the gopis go to a certain level of mahabhao bhakti. No other soul can reach that high. Only souls who worship Radha and Krishna with gopi bhao, madhurya bhao, any such soul who becomes God realized goes to that level, all the way up to mahabhao bhakti. Beyond where even God Shiva or Lakshmi could go. That's how gracious Radha and Krishna are, that they're willing to grant that to any soul. But there's the topmost seat in Mahabhao is reserved for Radharani. Sarva bhavoddgamollasi madanoyam parat parah Rajate hladini saro Radhaya mevaya sada. Jiva Goswami writes in Ujjwal Neelamani that Radha Rani's seat is called Madanakhya Mahabhav. That's the topmost seat, the topmost level of divine love where even Krishna can't reach, let alone the gopis. Krishna also goes up to a certain level within Mahabhav. So this is why in those leelas where Radha's Mahabhav state and status is revealed, Krishna surrenders to Radha. He serves her, tries to please her, and drowns in her love. So these are the 8 different levels of divine bhakti, prema bhakti, all the way up to Mahabhav. So that is our goal. By practicing sadhana bhakti in Raganuga style, doing smaran, meaning Roop Dhyan, along with Kirtan and Shravan, with the grace and following the instructions of a God-realized Rasik saint, adopting Madhurya bhao way of worshipping and surrendering to Radha and Krishna, not having any desire but one for their happiness, to be happy in their happiness, and not having any affiliation of karma, jnana, yoga, or any other practice. When we practice bhakti in this way, sadhana bhakti, we will start to experience the stages of bhao bhakti. And then when our heart is fully purified, Swarup Shakti will divinize our antahakaran, and we will be graced with Mahabhav Bhakti as long as we worshipped with that Gopi Prem, with that Gopi Bhao. So no matter where we are in these different stages, with the information that I've shared with you this week, you can know for yourself by the signs you've seen, the changes you've seen within yourself, what level you're at, and you can look forward to further progress and monitor and see that, oh yes, I see this thing's getting better. These bad things are being removed. I'm getting more of this good thing. So this is why I shared this with you this week, to give you hope looking forward, that there's more to come. Keep practicing. And don't despair. That doesn't matter how long it takes. Keep moving in the right direction. You have the guidance of Sri Maharajji. There's never any reason to despair. There's never any reason to be disappointed. No matter how difficult the going feels, no matter how it feels like you're putting effort and getting little result, you keep trying. The results will come. Krishna will grace you with those results. Your divine guru will grace you with those results. You keep practicing, keep doing sadhana, maintain your surrender to Sri Maharajji, and you will see that these stages will come, and you will see that you're progressing. And then if we maintain our effort and determination, then even in this lifetime, we may experience that Mahabhav Bhakti. So I'll finish this series with these words.